There's a $3 bottle of oil at a farm supply store 2 miles from your house right now. One coat of it on any wood surface protects that wood for 15 years. No peeling, no cracking, no contractor, no $4,000 repainting bill every 5 years, just oil. An oil that Viking shipbuilders used to keep their longships alive in the North Atlantic for over a century. An oil that Flemish master painters of the 15th century used to preserve wooden frames, still intact 600 years later. An oil that the British Royal Navy treated every wooden deck and mast with for 200 years straight. And an oil that the $47 billion global paint industry has spent the last 100 years methodically erasing from your memory. They did not stop using it because it failed. They stopped promoting it because it worked too well. A $3 bottle that lasts 15 years cannot be sold back to you again and again. What cannot generate recurring revenue cannot be allowed to survive. This is the forgotten story of raw linseed oil, the most powerful wood preservative humanity ever discovered, and the billion-dollar industry that replaced it with a synthetic film designed to crack, peel, and force you to pay again in 3 years. Welcome to Forbidden Camping. This is where we crack open the vaults the paint industry prays you never find. Subscribe now and ring the bell. Every vault we open, they wish we would not. Travel back to the 8th century, the coastlines of Scandinavia. Viking shipbuilders are constructing vessels that will carry warriors across the North Atlantic, through pack ice, into waters no European civilization had ever navigated. These ships had to survive salt water, freezing temperatures, and years at sea without dry docks or maintenance. Wood simply cut and assembled rotted within a season. The Vikings knew this. So before a single plank was fitted to a keel, the wood was treated, soaked and brushed with raw linseed oil pressed from flax seeds. The oil did not sit on the surface like paint. It became part of the wood itself. The result was a hull that flexed without cracking, repelled water without swelling, and resisted biological decay that destroyed untreated timber within months. Viking longships treated this way have been recovered from Scandinavian fjords after 1,000 years of submersion with structural integrity partially intact. Not because the wood was special, because the oil was. Flemish painters in the 1400s discovered that raw linseed oil applied to wooden panels created a surface so stable that pigments adhered without cracking for centuries. Walk through any major European museum today. The wooden frames on paintings from the 15th century are still solid. They have not split, rotted, or required replacement. Meanwhile, every modern painted wood surface in your home needs stripping and recoating within 5 to 7 years. The Flemish masters did not have better wood, they had better knowledge. The British Royal Navy formalized that knowledge into military doctrine. From the 17th century onward, every wooden deck and mast across the entire British fleet was treated with raw linseed oil as standard maintenance. Naval records from the 1700s document it as a non-negotiable requirement, not a suggestion, a mandate. Ships whose wood rotted sank, ships that sank lost wars. The Navy had no time for planned obsolescence. Linseed oil delivered what they needed every single time. Stay with me, because the science is even more powerful than the history. But first, I collected everything the paint industry buried from you inside the complete Forbidden Outdoor Vault. Wood preservation, waterproofing, water purification, emergency shelters, fire methods, over 10 complete guides in one place. The link is in the description, but stay here because what comes next is the part they truly do not want you to understand. Raw linseed oil is cold pressed from flax seeds. In a bottle, it looks unremarkable. Clear, slightly amber, faintly nutty. What makes it extraordinary is what happens after it leaves the bottle. Linseed oil is classified chemically as a drying oil. It contains a very high concentration of polyunsaturated fatty acids, specifically linolenic acid. When those fatty acid chains are exposed to oxygen, they do not evaporate. They polymerize. Each molecule cross-links with the molecules beside it, forming a dense, flexible, three-dimensional polymer network inside the wood fiber itself. This is not a surface coating, it is a chemical transformation that happens several millimeters deep inside the wood grain. The wood does not have a protective layer on top, the wood becomes the protection. The result repels water at the molecular level, prevents the microbial penetration that causes rot, blocks UV radiation from degrading the lignin that holds wood fibers together, and remains flexible enough to move with seasonal expansion and contraction without cracking. Here is what synthetic paint does instead. It forms a rigid film on the surface. That film does not penetrate. It sits on top like a plastic shell. For 2 to 3 years, it looks perfect. Then thermal cycling cracks it. Water gets under the film. The film lifts. Rot begins underneath where you cannot see it. Within 5 to 7 years, you are scraping, sanding, priming, and repainting. The paint company engineered the product to reach that failure point on a reliable schedule. That schedule is not a flaw. That schedule is the business model. Raw linseed oil lasts 10 to 15 years before any reapplication. Some historic wooden structures treated with linseed oil in the 19th century have never been retreated and show no degradation. You cannot build a $47 billion annual industry on a product that lasts 15 years and costs $3. The math is lethal to their revenue model. In the 1920s, the petrochemical industry began mass-producing alkyd resins. These synthetic compounds dried faster, allowing factories to produce at industrial scale. The paint industry had no incentive to promote a product that cured slowly, generated no repeat purchases, and could not be patented. Linseed oil is pressed from a plant. You cannot own it, you cannot trademark it. So the industry repositioned it, old-fashioned, slow, inadequate. Building codes were rewritten around synthetic coatings. Architecture schools stopped teaching natural preservation, and within a single generation, knowledge that had protected wood for 1,000 years was quietly buried. Today, a full exterior repaint costs $2,000 to $6,000, redone every 5 to 7 years. Over 30 years, that is up to $36,000 paid entirely to fight a failure the paint itself was engineered to cause. Raw linseed oil for the same surface costs $30 to $60, applied once every 10 to 15 years. Over 30 years, $120 total. That is the difference between a subscription and a solution. If you have made it this far, you already know more about wood preservation than 99% of homeowners writing checks to painting contractors every 5 years. The vault link is in the description. Now stay here, go to any farm supply store, and ask for raw linseed oil, not boiled linseed oil. Boiled linseed oil has been chemically treated with metallic dryers that compromise long-term protection. Raw is the cold-pressed, unmodified oil. It cures more slowly, but penetrates more deeply and lasts dramatically longer. A half-liter bottle costs $3 to $5. A 1-liter bottle runs $6 to $9 and covers an entire fence, deck, or exterior trim. Prepare the surface first. Remove existing paint or rot. Sand bare wood. The oil must contact raw wood fiber to penetrate correctly. Any coating blocks it. Clean all dust and allow to dry fully. Apply the first coat with a brush or rag. Work it into the grain, no puddles. The goal is full absorption, not surface coverage. Allow 20 minutes, then wipe away any excess that has not penetrated. Oil sitting on the surface will go tacky. Thin coats fully absorbed are everything. Allow the first coat to cure 48 hours in warm, dry conditions, 72 in cold or humid weather. Apply a second coat the same way. 2 coats on bare wood is the standard, 3 coats for surfaces facing constant weather or ground contact. After the final coat cures, the wood is done. No top coat, no varnish, no paint. The oil is the protection. A woodworker in Vermont treated an outdoor cedar deck entirely with raw linseed oil 12 years ago. No further treatment since. No peeling, no cracking, no rot at any joint. Total material cost, $22. The neighboring deck, built the same year and painted with a major brand exterior coating, has been repainted twice and partially rebuilt once due to rot beneath the paint film. Total cost over 12 years, over $3,400. Viking shipbuilders kept their fleets alive in the most punishing ocean on Earth with this oil. Flemish craftsmen preserved wooden masterpieces for 600 years with it. The British Royal Navy trusted their entire fleet to it for 2 centuries. A Vermont woodworker proved it again on a $22 budget. The science is settled, the history is undeniable, the cost is $3. They did not bury this because it failed. They buried it because it worked too well and could never become a recurring revenue stream. The oil never cared about quarterly earnings, it just kept working. The same way it will work for you starting this weekend. The knowledge did not die. It was waiting in Viking shipyard records, in Flemish workshop notes, in British naval logs, and in a farm supply store 2 miles from your house. The painting contractor billing you every 5 years hopes you never find out. But right now, you just did. Subscribe and share this with someone who just received a repainting quote they should never have to pay. Every share preserves what the industry spent a century trying to erase. The next vault opens soon. What is inside weighs even heavier.